Recently, there has been a big movement to get back our games. It was headed by a guy named Ross, and his channel is Accursed Farms. Excuse me, I had to think about it for a second. And basically, he's just trying to fight back against the companies that are just trying to sell you a game. You purchase it, and then they take away your rights to the game after you've purchased it later on down the line. And he's basically saying, no, we paid for it. We should be able to have access to it. Or give us a refund. Because that's another thing I would say too. It's like, well, if they want to do that, then give us our money back. Because if you're going to take it offline permanently and take away our access to it, then we want it back. But anyway, looks like Ubisoft is doubling down now, because the game in reference in the video was The Crew and how they were taking it offline, and basically you can't buy it anymore or anything like that, which is fine. But for the people who have already bought it, they should be able to play it, right? Well, Ubisoft decided to double down and disagree even more on their stance on it. Here it says Ubisoft is stripping people's licenses from The Crew weeks after its shutdown, nearly squandering hopes of fan servers and acting as a stark reminder of how volatile digital ownership is. And yeah, I would agree, this is definitely one of the scarier aspects of owning everything digitally, is that you only own it in so much as that you own something that has access to digital. And even then, it's like there's so many hackers and stuff nowadays, like you could just lose access to it too. But that's one of the risks we take. But then again, it shouldn't be even more of a risk with the companies that sold us the games. I mean, I don't know about you, but usually when I buy something, unless it's food, if it's a product that I'm looking to use over a longer period of time, I expect to have access to it. I don't care if it's an older game or things like that, because there's a lot of people who go back and play games 15 years later just to see what's going on. And this is basically even taking that away because they want to. It just really doesn't even make any sense why. I mean, sure, you can take the servers down, I suppose, because most people probably even play the game in single player anyway. But did you take away the licenses too? I mean, what in the world's going on? It says the crew was pulled from sale back in December, with Ubisoft revealing that servers would be shut down at the beginning of April. Frustratingly, despite a large portion of the game being doable in single player, the crew remained an online only endeavor throughout its decade long lifespan. And this is another thing too. It's like all these games that are single player, but you have to be online. Why? I mean, sure, if there's an online functionality to it, then of course you would have to connect to the internet, like duh. But I mean, for just single player stuff, why are we still having to connect to the internet? Because sometimes the internet goes out, and maybe we're just looking to play something offline while we're waiting for the internet to come back up. It's just unbelievable that we're in this situation here in, what is it, 2024? I had to look at the day, yeah. To see that it's just the same as it was 10 years ago with all the technology we have. Like, you already know they can make this game playable offline. They just don't want to. They just don't want to. They want to have you dependent on connecting to their servers or whatever. I maybe so they can just pull a fast one on you. I don't. I mean, part of me wants to believe that they don't want to, because it's like, why would you be that scummy and just ill-intentioned? But I mean, they're just doubling down. I mean, there's one thing to take the servers down and stuff like that, but then revoking licenses without any sort of return on the consumer's end is just plain wrong. It says fans began to notice earlier in the week that the license to the game had been snatched away from them. A message at the top of the game's library page reads, "You no longer have access to this game. Why not check out the store to pursue your adventures?" It's also been moved to its own individual section in player libraries listed under inactive games. Apparently, booting the game directly from the installation directory will still launch the game, but only in demo mode. Like, this is just wrong on so many levels. Like, how they should not be allowed to do this. They should not be allowed to do this. I mean, you paid for it. It's just that simple. You paid for the product. If you don't want us to have access to the game, then give us our money back. It's really just how simple it is. I mean, if people don't have access to something they paid for, then they should be able to get that money back to spend it on something that they will have access to. I mean, this just makes me, it just goes to show how much I just really enjoy the Dark Souls games and things like that because they're just solid games and you're able to play them whenever you want. You don't have to worry about losing access to it unless the world ends. But other than that, you still have access to it. Man, Ubisoft is just trying. I feel like they're just trying to make news and headlines just so they can be spiteful to people. It just feels so wrong. A further Reddit user called it really abhorrent behavior that needs to stop being legal, with another writing, in the ideal world, revoking a license like this should entitle the buyer to a refund. Exactly. Exactly. It should entitle you to a refund. It's just how simple it is. The license itself, so you're revoking the thing that enabled the player to be able to play the game, you're revoking that. Refund. So we can go buy Elden Ring. It's just Ubisoft, man. It's worth noting it appears you can technically still download the game on Steam, but any attempt to play it is followed up with a request to input a game key. Yeah, so to summarize, Ubisoft is just a horrible company apparently, who just can't seem to learn how to be pro-consumer. I mean, I get it. People want to make money. These companies want to make money, but I would think that being first and foremost consumer friendly would then enable you to be able to produce more money. Because usually, when you're trying to be more consumer friendly, people will then want to give you more money because they see that and they're like, okay, yeah, I would be down to give them money for these games. I mean, that's why we've seen all these Ubisoft just the Ubisoft studios, excuse me, wow, it took me a second to think of it there, being shut down because they're just horrible. And it's not even Ubisoft too; it's others companies trying to do the same thing. But Ubisoft here is in the limelight because, well, they are basically leading the charge, if you will, with the crew. But yeah, so the Ross over at Accursed Farms, please keep doing your work, buddy. You're doing God's work, if you will, because this crapola needs to stop. It needs to stop. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. I mean, it was one thing to take the servers down, of course, and stop selling the game, but then to revoke the license as well. That's over the line. There's no other way to say it. It's over the line. But anyway, if you guys liked the video, make sure to leave a like, and I hope to see you guys around. Peace.